Hello and welcome to Part 9 of The Little-Known Drivers of Easter, a series of reflections for Lent. I'm John Bridges, the author of The Blood of Innocents. I've spent several years studying the history of the life and death of Jesus of Nazareth. So between now and Easter Sunday, I'm reading a series of short extracts from The Blood of Innocents, the sort of conversations that were happening among the people who saw Jesus in Jerusalem and of course had no idea how the story would end. It will, I hope, help us see why, with hindsight 2,000 years later, we still do Easter. On Good Friday, Pilate had taken a pragmatic view of the security situation he faced and executed an innocent man. In this last conversation, set that summer, a few months after the Passover, Maximus, his senior centurion in Jerusalem, is enjoying a drink with Pilate at Pilate's permanent residence by the Mediterranean. Maximus thinks Pilate might be amused that Jesus' disciples are claiming their master is back from the dead. Thousands of Hebrews are now worshipping the risen Lord. "The risen Lord," said Pilate. "The emperor is Lord. Comparing Jesus to the emperor really is a challenge to the authority of Rome. You confirmed Jesus was dead yourself, didn't you?" "And Caiaphas is derisory about my judgment, prefect," Maximus grinned. "Jesus was definitely dead, and as far as I'm concerned, he still is." "Haven't they found the body yet?" laughed Pilate. "Caiaphas's people must have torn Jerusalem apart." "They did, and they still haven't," Maximus nodded. "Caiaphas just wants to dismiss the whole thing." "I'll bet he does," said Pilate. "But why steal Jesus' body?" asked Maximus thoughtfully. "Since the disciples had all deserted him anyway. He's not the first Messiah we've executed, and no one claimed any of them resurrected." "It is intriguing, certainly," agreed Pilate. "Are we taking any further action?" At that, Maximus raised his eyebrows. "Because somebody reports a dead person alive again?" Pilate laughed. "Exactly," smiled Maximus. "I'm not risking my pension turning up the guard to look for somebody back from the dead, am I? What would I tell the men they're looking for anyway?" "A pale man dressed in a burial shroud?" asked Pilate. And then he laughed, imagining the briefing to the troops. "Distinguishing features, nail holes in his ankles and wrists with 2 broken legs. No, he died before you needed to break his legs, didn't he? Didn't you run him through with a spear or something?" "Yes, that's quite right, sir." Maximus was also amused at the thought of a briefing for a search for a live corpse. He took another swig of wine. "Look out for a large spear wound to the chest, men," Pilate went on, laughing, and then lowered his voice, adding in dramatic tones, "and keep your noses peeled for a whiff of decay." Both men laughed helplessly, Pilate putting his glass on a nearby table to avoid spilling it. "There's no need for us to get involved. It'll blow over," said Maximus as their laughter subsided. "Quite," nodded Pilate, still laughing as he relaxed back onto the couch. "The mystery of the disappearing holy man, though. You know, it might make a good play. How did Jesus' disciples say he came back to life, then?" "Funnily enough," answered Maximus, "they were as surprised as everyone else. Some of Jesus' women went to the tomb to continue his first burial, so they were clearly expecting him to be dead, weren't they? And the tomb was empty." "Well, that's no good," said Pilate scornfully. "That wrecks the story before it starts." "Sorry, sir?" asked Maximus. Pilate turned and looked at him. "First question, who saw him alive? And the answer's the women. Who's going to believe women?" Pilate took a drink from his glass. "His disciples will have to do better than that." Pilate lay back onto the couch. "So how did the women know it was him?" "He's unmistakable, apparently. That chap from Arimathea you gave his body to, he's seen him." "Joseph? You're joking. He's a friend of Nicodemus." "There's a rumour Nicodemus believes it too," said Maximus. "Joseph says he was with some friends in a house in Jerusalem when Jesus appeared." No, nothing like that. He just appeared." "Ah, so he was a ghost then," said Pilate. "Well, no, that's the mystery," replied Maximus. "Sounds like a ghost to me," observed Pilate, "if he walks through walls." "Well, the disciples thought that at first too. Joseph said they were terrified." "Well, you can see why, can't you?" laughed Pilate. "Imagine if someone that we both knew was dead just appeared from nowhere. When we kill people, they generally stay dead." "Did he convince them he wasn't a ghost?" Joseph wasn't sure. "Jesus apparently ate some food." "Do ghosts do that?" asked Maximus. "No idea," Pilate shrugged. "I've never met one." "So Joseph believes his resurrection, then?" "He was almost apologetic," Maximus continued. "Joseph said, We all know dead people don't come back to life, but that's what we saw. Pilate sipped his wine again, then something else struck him. Centurion, is this anointed one supposed to come back from the dead? Well, sir, the Jews believe their righteous people will come back from the dead at the end of time, replied Maximus. And they expect Messiah to clear us pagans from their land now, not die on our crosses. Most Hebrews think that us killing Jesus proves he isn't Messiah. That was probably why his disciples deserted him. So the idea of a bodily resurrection like this is new, even to the Jews. I've heard about ghosts or becoming a star in the heavens, or a god like the emperor, or even reincarnated. But everybody knows no one comes back to this world a second time, don't they? Quite, agreed Maximus thoughtfully. What makes hundreds of sensible people suddenly believe something they all still say can't happen? Maximus paused for a moment. Actually, Joseph thought that if a god wanted to leave a sign that no power on earth could copy, then raising a dead person from the grave would be pretty unmistakable, wouldn't it? Unmistakable? Pilate asked. He took another sip of wine, relaxed, and smiled at the thought of Caiaphas's discomfort. Jesus' disciples have got it totally wrong, though. No one will ever believe the story if they say the women found the tomb empty. Thank you for listening. If you want to find out more about why Easter really happened the way it did, you can buy a copy of Blood of Innocents through the Blood of Innocents site, or on Amazon, iTunes, or through troubadour.co.uk. There'll be more material on the site over the months ahead, so I hope you'll visit us again. In the meantime, every blessing.